Back to this class, welcome. And we're going to pick up where we left off last time. Let us pray. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the participants in this course. I commit them to you and I commit myself. I ask the blood coverage upon myself and upon the participants. In your precious name I pray. Amen. Now, we are continuing our study on Marx. Karl Marx. Marx believed that the very natures of the bourgeoisie and the proletariat inescapably lock the two classes in conflict, and I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I really don't agree. But he then took his ideas of class conflict one step further. He predicted that the laborers are not selectively unfit, but are destined to overthrow the capitalists. Well, Lenin and Stalin, they embraced that philosophy, political philosophy, and they did overthrow the capitalists in Russia. And the same thing happened in China and a few other countries, North Korea and Cuba and a few more. I don't think we have had 15 communist countries. I don't think so. Russia doesn't even know what it is now. Russia has embraced capitalism. Politically, it might be practicing Marxism in the sense that you have one party, political party. They don't allow a multi-party system to operate in their country. All right, and the same thing in China and Cuba. China is a capitalist country, and so long as you don't touch the politics in China, you're safe. You're free to go and make money. So Marxism is not sound. It has certain views, it has put forth point of views that are good, but as a whole, it hasn't worked. Capitalism is still working. Such a class revolution would establish a class-free society in which all people work according to their abilities and receive according to their needs. Why he seemed to have had a real problem with classes in a society. I don't know if you can. I should say I don't know. It is clear now that it is impossible to rid a society of classes. Even before Glasnost and Perestroika in Russia, which came about roughly late 1990s coming on to 2000. Even before that, there was a marked difference between the leaders in Russia, political leaders, and the ordinary people. The political leaders had the posh cars to drive and the phones in the cars and they lived in good areas, paved roads and nice houses, whereas there were those who had to live in the outer fringes of Russia, where the roads were not paved. They had to contend with a lot of mud. They didn't have cars to drive, and so on. So, I mean, I'm talking about periods before the overthrow or the destruction of perestroika, Marxism and communism in Russia. Unlike Spencer, Marx believed that economics, not natural selection, determines the differences between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. It is not as clear cut as that. I have known of cases where um, persons are working at the same place, getting the same salary, in the same categories. And I know of a fact, this person, because of his vision, worked and saved his money. He didn't spend it at the bar. And the others who were spending money at the bar called him mean. I remember vividly um, when this particular bauxite company was in construction close to the community where I was living, where I grew up. Persons there at the end of the construction could show something. They had a house, or they expanded their houses, they had a car, so when the construction days were over, they could run taxi. And there were those there who did not have not even chicken's coop to show. Yeah, they were the same. So it is not as clear cut as Marx is making it out to be, that because you're exploited, you don't have anything. Because even all right, you have a number of classes in the society. You have the very rich. You have some who are great intellectuals, and because of that, they're able to earn enough. They're able to earn the keeps. But you have other people, ordinary people, not educated, can read but not educated. Some can read. Again, you'd have to make a difference between them. And I've known of this man. I have met this man who is a contractor, and he can't read. So it is not as clear cut as that. People are poor because they're exploited. People are poor to a large extent because they don't wish to live higher than they're living. They never had any plan and vision for the money. They worked money, but they had no vision, no plan. So they didn't put the money to any use, any good use. Wasted the money. They didn't have a plan to school their children and to buy a piece of land, fence it, and do something with it. Whether you rear livestock uh, or you plant something, color, what have you. They had no plan. And so they remain poor. Marx further claimed that a society's economic system decides people's norms, values, mores, and religious beliefs, as well as the nature of the society's political, governmental, and educational systems. Also, unlike Spencer, Marx urged people to take an active role in changing society rather than simply trusting it to evolve positively on its own. I agree that you have to work to change society. I am not saying you have to necessarily work to overthrow it. There may be a time for that if the society is really oppressive, really, really oppressive. Communism is oppressive, you know. It's oppressive. And it dictates, it tries to tell you what to do and determine for you what is right and what is wrong. You know? It denies people free choice. Communism, as practiced, Now we come to another founding father, Emile Durkheim. Despite their differences, Marx, Spencer, and Comte all acknowledged the importance of using science to study society, although none actually used scientific methods. Emile Durkheim was born 1858, 42, and 1052, and 759. There's two, Comte died 59 too. So not until Emile Durkheim did a person systematically apply scientific methods to sociology as a discipline. A French philosopher and sociologist, Durkheim stressed the importance of studying social facts or patterns of behavior characteristic of a particular group. The phenomenon of suicide especially interested Durkheim, but he did not limit his ideas on the topic to mere speculation. Durkheim formulated his conclusions about the causes of suicide based on the analysis of large amounts of statistical data collected from various European countries. Durkheim certainly advocated the use of systematic observation to study sociological events. But he also recommended that sociologists avoid considering people's attitudes when explaining society. To avoid considering people's attitudes. Well, society, you see, is like a chicken and egg. People impact society, and society impact people. People impact society, and the society impacts the individual, put it that way. Sociologists should only consider as objective evidence what they themselves can directly observe. In other words, they must not concern themselves with people's subjective experiences. I don't think it is that you should rule it out. Your experience says a lot. One's experience is a lot. You cannot completely rule out one's experience. Now we come to Max Weber. He was a German sociologist, and he was born in 1864, died in 1920. Max Weber disagreed with the objective evidence only. I disagree too. Position of Durkheim. He argued that sociologists must also consider the people's interpretations of events, not just the events themselves. Weber believed that individuals' behaviors cannot exist apart from their interpretations of the meaning of their own behaviors, and that people tend to act according to these interpretations. Because of the ties between objective behavior and subjective interpretation, Weber believed that sociologists must inquire into people's thoughts, feelings, and perceptions regarding their own behaviors. Weber recommended that sociologists, and let me just spell this, is M-A-X, is not Marx now, but Max, M-A-X, W-E-B-E-R. That is not pronounced Weber. It is pronounced Weber. It's German. Weber. Max Weber. Good. Weber recommended that sociologists adopt his method of verse 10, or empathic empathetic understanding. That means it's not sympathy, but empathy. You put yourself in a person's shoes to get an understanding of what the person is going through. You feel with the person. You don't only go there and cry for the person, but you try to feel for the person and experience what the person is experiencing. It's empathy. Verse 10 allows sociologists to mentally put themselves into the other person's shoes and thus obtain an interpretive understanding, which is subjective, an understanding of the meanings of individual behaviors. You have to know, the first wisdom, sorry, the first wisdom of sociology states things are not what they seem. They seem away. Things, a person's behavior does seem a certain way. Sorry. But things are not just what they seem. Social reality turns out to have many, my God, many layers of meaning. So you have to, the discovery of each new layer changes the perception of the whole. For you to understand, have an understanding of why this is happening and that is happening, or that happened, you need to leaf through, pull apart, bit by bit, piece by piece, each layer, to get an understanding as to why certain things happen. But don't assume that, you know. Don't just dismiss it. Don't assume that you know. And don't just ignore it. Don't ignore what the person is going through. Don't ignore it. But you make sure to pull the thing bit by bit in order to get an understanding of what really went down or why the person is behaving that way, the person's background, how the person was socialized, and so on. Now, I deliberately avoided the definition of sociology. I gave you the background of the founding fathers and their philosophies, political philosophies. Now we're going to look at from another perspective, from another source. Other scholars, we're going to be examining the views of other scholars. Concerts, sports games, and political rallies can have very large crowds. When you attend one of these events, you may know only the people you came with, yet you may experience a feeling of connection to the group. You are one of the crowd. You cheer and applaud when everyone else does. You boo and yell alongside them. You move out of the way when someone needs to get by, and you say, "Excuse me," when you need to leave. You know how to behave in this kind of crowd. It can be a very difficult experience if you are traveling in a foreign country and find yourself in a crowd moving down the street. You may have trouble figuring out what is happening. Is the crowd just the usual morning rush, or is it a political protest of some kind? For you're in a foreign country, you don't really know what's going on, and you have to be careful. You don't want to get hurt or get caught. Perhaps there was some sort of accident or disaster. Is it safe in this crowd, or should you try to extract yourself? How can you find out what is going on? Although you are in it, you may not feel like you are part of this crowd. You may not know what to do or how to behave. Even within one type of crowd, different groups exist and different behaviors are on display. Behaviors. You cannot deal with sociology without behaviors, without examining people's behavior. As I said, people impact society and society impacts the individual. And society is made up of individuals. At a rock concert, for example, some may enjoy singing along, others may prefer to sit and observe, while still others may join in a mosh pit or try crowd surfing. On February 28, 2010, Sidney Crosby scored a winning goal against the United States team in the gold medal hockey game at the Vancouver Winter Olympics. 200,000 jubilant people filled the streets of downtown Vancouver. I've been to Vancouver, by the way, to celebrate and cap off 2 weeks of uncharacteristically vibrant, joyful street life in Vancouver. Just over a year later, on June 15, 2011, the Vancouver Canucks lost the seventh hockey game of the Stanley Cup Finals against the Boston Bruins. 100,000 people had been watching the game on outdoor screens. Eventually, 155,000 people filled the downtown streets. Rioting and looting led to hundreds of injuries, burned cars, trashed storefronts, and property damage, totaling an estimate of 4.2 million. Why was the crowd response to the two events so different? Things like that. Sociologists would be interested in that, want to know why. Why? Take an interest in that. Sociologists will take an interest in that. Yeah, the question is going to be why? Why? A key insight of sociology is that the simple fact of being in a group changes your behavior. Changes your behavior. The group is a phenomenon that is more than the sum of its parts. Why do we feel and act differently in different types of social situations? Why might people of a single group exhibit different behaviors in the same situation? Why might people acting similarly not feel connected to others exhibiting the same behavior? These are some of the many questions sociologists ask as they study people and society. So write these questions down, they're very important. The group is a phenomenon that is more than just the sum of its parts. The group of its parts is made up of different individuals from different backgrounds. Why do we feel and act differently in different types of social situations? The way you would act in that group, that's not the way you would act in a church. Why might people of a single group exhibit different behaviors in the same situation? For example, those who you would call ghetto people, or people who are uneducated and cool, would behave a certain way, and you would find that the person who are considered to be cultured and educated would not behave that way. Why might people acting similarly not feel connected to others exhibiting the same behavior? Now we're coming to look now at something quite interesting called definition. A dictionary defines sociology as the systematic study of society and social interaction. The word sociology is derived from the Latin word socios, meaning companion, and the Greek word logos, speech or reason or word, which together mean reasoned speech about companionship. How can the experience of companionship or togetherness be put into words or explained? While this is a starting point for the discipline, sociology is actually much more complex. It uses many different methods to study a wide range of subject matter and to apply these studies to the real world. So it's not something simple. A dictionary's definition is not going to help you here. For you to, and let me say this here and now. This is the second class. I would love you to do as a project, and this is called. Let me tell you what it is. What it is called is slipping me. You're going to look for 10 definitions from 10 different sources, online and books. Annotated. You're going to give me an annotated report. One of the projects you going to do was an essay. That's number one. You're going to give me an annotated report. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to contact me and I'll tell you. And I'll give you an example. An annotated report of 10 different definitions, different sources. And you're going to, at the end of the 10, you're going to build a definition or coin a definition for yourself. Because the definitions are made by people, scholars. And at times definitions are made within a certain context. So you're going to find 10 different sources, books in the library, and also online sources. And you're going to give me the 10, an annotated report of these 10 definitions. And at the end of it, to make 11, you're going to coin one. Right? It's very important that you do that. The sociologist Dorothy Smith defines the social as the ongoing concerting and coordinating of individuals' activities. Sociology is a systematic study of all those aspects of life designated by the adjective social. These aspects of social life never simply occur. They are organized processes. And you notice the word systematic, because history, a lot of people, 90% of persons, even scholars, don't know what a history is. And that is why they will say history is in the making, or history is being repeat, history is repeating itself, or this goes down in history. Expression, expressions of the kind tell a historian that this person don't know what history is. History is defined as that systematic evidence evidence based study of the human past, not the past itself. And you notice how close it is to sociology. If you're going to be a sociologist, you have to study history. You have to have an understanding and appreciation for how people have lived and how people have thought. So, sociology is being defined here, and you're going to come up with your own definition. You're going to coin one. They can be the briefest of everyday interactions. It has to do with people's interactions, group, home, whatever, church, school, moving to the right to let someone pass on a busy sidewalk, for example, or the largest and most enduring interactions, such as the billions of daily exchanges that constitute the circuits of global capitalism. And we're going to hold it there for today. I wanted to do your reflection and email me. God bless you.